Can you tell us about the Trilateral Commission?
The Trilateral Commission is a private organization founded by David Rockefeller in 1973. It was essentially financed by Rockefeller and some of the foundations, Kettering Foundation, Danforth Foundation, Ford Foundation. Ford Foundation is a very major contributor. And the stated objective is to encourage discussion amongst what they call the trilateral regions. I should point out that of the 300 members, 1/3 come from the United States, 1/3 from Japan, and 1/3 from Europe. But in effect, I find that the actions of the Trilateral Commission are very much self-interested on the part of the international banking community in New York.
Have you ever talked about something and then got an ad for it on your phone right after? It's the weirdest feeling, and a company just admitted to doing this. So Cox Media Group was pitching to investors their active listening software, saying that AI is using what they call real-time intent data by listening to our conversations, saying advertisers can use this and that we leave a data trail based on our conversations and online behavior. Companies have spoke up about this, Google saying they removed CMG from its partners program, Meta is saying that they're reviewing this company to see if it violates any terms of service and that they do not use our microphone for ads. Amazon has said it has never worked with CMG and has no plans to do so.
Does anyone have any idea what's flying over Wichita right now? I just was on a walk and I saw these out to the west and I thought they were birds or balloons at first, but they're moving in a perfectly straight line with no flapping or anything like that, so not a clue what they could be. They're flying very smoothly though.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know how you're all saying UFOs don't exist, they're not real, aliens aren't real, none of this is real, it's a psyop because the aliens don't exist? Well, the government has passed along a new handbook for all the police in the United States to abide and follow. Look, police across the United States given new UFO handbook as they warn craft pose a significant threat. Really? Really? Now you're deciding that these things are threatening? I can't go any further with this. UFOs are real. Obviously, the government is confirming it to the point where they're passing out handbooks on how to deal with them.
King Charles goes around the world jet-setting, of course flying his private jets with all of his attendants. He has something like 120 staff who look after everything, including setting the bath temperature to just the right way and putting the bath plug in just the right position, cooking several different eggs for him every morning so he can find one with just the right consistency, traveling around with his own personal toilet seat, all of course the stupid royal nonsense. But also, he travels around with, and not only his personal chefs, but his personal food supply, which is organic food only, because he will not touch the very stuff that he's trying to foist on the rest of us. But don't worry, guys, as part of One Health and as part of the UNEP, quadripartite, whatever they're going to thrust down your throat, they're going to say that this is in the name of protecting Mother Earth from those horrible, horrible farms that are producing all this horrible greenhouse gas emission. You guys are eating meat. Oh, you're eating all these horrible, you're contributing to the end of nature. What you need is this bioengineered, lab-produced gunk from these corporations that have monopolized that industry. That's what's good for you. Just don't look to us to be eating it. No, that's for you guys, the plebs out there. Anyone who is not disgusted, truly disgusted by the hypocrisy of this agenda, truly isn't paying attention to it. It has nothing to do with saving the planet.
I don't think you're ready for what I'm about to show you involving these two supposedly different individuals. Hang on to your seats, because not only do these two look so much alike that you barely even notice a transition from one of them to the other, and not only do they move so similarly that they literally look like they could be the same mannerisms from the same person, and not only do they share an exact symmetrical face proportions with eyes, nose, and mouth, but they also share the exact same birthmarks on their arms. 1 and 1, 2 and 2, and 3 and 3. Now you need to ask yourself, what are the odds that someone looks alike and moves alike and shares the same birthmarks, and those people aren't just the same person? It's okay. You can make this realization. But of course, this was just for entertainment purposes. I know that these astronomical odds just happen, just like the astronomical odds of a Big Bang blowing everything up and us coming perfectly together to form the human eyeball.
I do believe a lot of crypto is going to be, it's an international asset. It has a differentiating value versus other asset classes, but more importantly, because it's so international, it's going to transcend any one currency and currency valuation. If you just look at the value of our dollar, how it depreciated the last 2 months and how much it appreciated over the last 5 years, I mean, an international crypto product can really transcend that. And that's why we believe there's great opportunities, and that's why we're seeing more and more interest. And that interest is broad-based worldwide.
Jesuit order, what you know of the Jesuit order and what everybody knows of the Jesuit order is not the truly Jesuit order. What that means is even the Jesuits within the Jesuit order, they all are not knowing the secret society, the inner secret society that they are surrounded by. The Opus Dei is another arm of the Jesuits. What that means, you have Masons, you have Illuminatis, you have the New Age movement, you have Trilateral Commission, you have the Club of Rome, you have so many others. There are in different areas, they need to control certain area of certain people. And this is where and how they'll be ready to have them under control through these organizations.
Who are reptilian shapeshifters, and are the presidents a part of it? In 1978, a scientist named Robert Monroe was invited to a military project by the CIA. The project's aim was to open portals to other dimensions so the brains could enter multiverses and, most importantly, unlock higher consciousness. During the project, participants sat in isolated darkness and listened to various tones at specific hertz in an attempt to enter new dimension. After the experiments, the participants claimed that they saw alligators, as they saw creatures which looked like crocodiles. However, Robert concluded 3 things after this experiment. First, these reptilian shapeshifters have controlled and enslaved humanity from a very long time. Second, they exist and operate in 4th dimension. Third, this lizard-like race sees itself as superior and rulers of mankind. Now, all the description that Robert gave, it clearly shows that it's nothing but jinns, as the leader of evil jinns, Iblis, did enslave humanity from a very long time when they decided to work for him. And yes, jinns live with us, but we can't see them unless they take form of something, which could be humans. And as Iblis sees himself superior to humans, the last description clearly describes how these evil jinns act superior towards mankind.
10 years, algorithms and AIs will be running the world. I'm not having in mind some kind of Hollywoodian science fiction scenario of one big computer kind of conquering the world. It's more like a bureaucracy of AIs, that we will have millions of AI bureaucrats everywhere. In the banks, in the government, in businesses, in universities, making more and more decisions about our lives. That everyday decisions, whether to give us a loan, whether to accept us to a job, and we will find it more and more difficult to understand the logic, the rationale, why the algorithm refused to give us a loan, why the algorithm accepted somebody else for the job. And, you could still have democracies with people voting for this president or this prime minister. But if most of the decisions are made by AIs, and humans, including the politicians, have difficulty understanding the reason why the AIs are making a particular decision, then power will gradually shift from humanity to these new alien intelligences.
Hold on. Kenya's trying to do what now? I mean, I read this in a book once and it didn't turn out too well. Check this out.
Now, let me just put it blatantly to you. The program targets the birth of new babies. So once you have your baby, before your baby leaves the hospital, you no longer get a paper birth certificate, but then you get a digital one that is somehow implanted somewhere on somebody's body. Think about that. But have a listen to this.
The digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise as an ID. They should be able to be identified digitally.
Every year, an exclusive group of the 120 most powerful central bankers and policymakers from all over the world meet at Jackson Hole, Wyoming to discuss monetary policy behind closed doors at the Federal Reserve's annual conference. But this year, something unusual happened. At the exact same time, in the exact same place that the world's most influential central bankers met, a second event took place. The inaugural Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, which highlighted the state of Wyoming's recent legislation to pursue a digital dollar. Is it merely a coincidence that these two events happened at the exact same time in the same small town, population 10,000, in the same building right down the hall? Or is it giving us a clue as to what's coming next? Specifically, does it represent the foundation being laid towards a central bank digital currency or CBDC launch?
On GitHub, you can go download it right now. Basically, you can deep fake live video. Now you would think, why is that important? He's got COVID 1000. Go get him. Sends it to the AI police. The AI police write up a criminal report, which then the AI judge sends off a warrant. Then the AI drones come to my house to say, you need to turn yourself in so you can be incarcerated and quarantined. And I decide to run. And they want to put a worldwide outspread for me to put everybody on Outlook. But I didn't do anything wrong, right? Through mainstream media, like CNN. They'll deep fake the live. The deep fake starts saying, he was fondling my computers. He was messing with my AI. So now they can fake live footage, creating what? Fake witnesses. That's the last layer to the Minority Report.
This is host of Toilet Time TV. It's an AI version of me. Are you able to tell the difference? This will be the future of content creation. The takeover is coming.
If I can do this, and it took me literally 5 minutes to make that, what do you think police, the government, big corporations, hospitals have access to? So as I showed you guys, you can create a real avatar like myself, so they could create me into a room and have me confess something.
I hadn't tapped it, I hadn't inserted it, I hadn't swiped it, and then all of a sudden, out comes the receipt. And I said, how did this get paid for?
The cashier couldn't explain it.
She stood there literally just sort of blank. I really thought that the guy ahead of me, that he had been charged. I said, somebody paid for this on a credit card somewhere.
Turns out the tap-to-pay card reader at Safeway had ignored the debit card in Edgar's hand. Instead, it reached into Edgar's back pocket.
Oh, that's crazy.
And charged his Bank of America credit card tucked inside.
That's a pretty big reach. I mean, around me or through me to my wallet. Why didn't it grab the card that was near it? How did it decide what to grab?
I was shocked. I was like, well, it can't be.
Sonia Cesare says it happened at a doctor's office.
I went to pay and they said, you're already paid. And I said, I haven't inserted my card. I haven't even taken it out of my wallet.
Turns out the card reader there had sent radio waves into her purse and charged her credit card without her knowing it. And that wasn't all. Sonia got an even bigger surprise at a little shop.
The woman said, oh my, it's just read 3 cards.
The store's tap-to-pay system charged not only 1, but 3 credit cards tucked in a wallet inside her purse.
I'd say I was 2 feet away at that point.
What I would like to talk to you a little bit about today is something I was asked to do in 2010 and 2011. I was getting ready to leave over at the CIA, where I'd worked for a number of years, and the Intelligence Science Board said, could you give us a brief on what's in store for us in the future? And it was some information I think some people didn't know, and I think it's good for people to be aware of what's going on out there. Can you actually send and receive sensory information, like the Matrix? The short answer is yes. What we do know is that DARPA did get permission for 500 operations to do deep brain electrode implants. They haven't published anything yet, but my guess is what you're looking at is human-human thought transference, and certainly in the open science world, that was published last month. Actually, the brain-to-brain transfer of sensory information in 2 humans, and they achieved a success rate of being right 85% of the time. So you can attach one human brain to a device. You can attach the human brain to another human brain. You can direct motor activity, or you can send communication and information. So that's what people are doing. There's a whole world out there of biohacking. I don't know if you're aware of it, but you should be. So normally at the university, we are well regulated by the federal laws about studying and experimenting on humans. There's a biohacking community that is not part of the official science community that is busy trying to attach hardware to humans, and they do it in their basements. They study up on how to do the surgeries, how to connect devices, how to put motherboards in people. And they may use it for some purposes like phishing, using RFID signals in their hands to take information from you. But there are some other interesting developments. When you start thinking about the fluidity of what you can do with the brain, they're experimenting with CE6 and giving people with eye drops night vision. For several hours, the person receiving the night drops can see over 160 feet in the dark.